Hello, yogis. Welcome to class today. Today's class is very much inspired by the next holiday coming up, which is Halloween. So I wanted to make a class for you that would be fresh, different, fun, and also going with the season that we're currently in. So you'll notice as we're going through the class, some of the postures will have names that are associated with some Halloween aspects. You'll also hear the Halloween playlist in the background. If you are looking for some Halloween music, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share a couple different playlists that I have with you. And not just Halloween playlist. I've got about 200 different playlists. So if you're looking for music, whether it's music that's more upbeat or something more relaxing and meditative, balancing, I've got lots and lots of options. So please feel free to reach out and let me know what your needs are. And that goes for class as well. If there is some kind of practice that would benefit a particular area of your body, please let me know. Tell me any requests that you have. I'm always happy to make classes based on your needs. So let's get started for our Halloween yoga class today. Starting in a seated position, but I'm also going to give you the option to take that position reclined, so laying on your back. So our first posture is called bat. And with our bat posture, we're going to make the shape of our legs, which in yoga is known as Baddha Konasana. So what we do is we bring the soles of our feet together and we let the knees splay out. Now, before we go any further, notice how your legs feel. If you've got any knee sensitivity, then you can send your feet further in front. That's going to open the angle at the knees. That's going to be more comfortable. Now, as you start your practice, check around your space, invite a couple blocks. If you don't have blocks, no worries. You can use pillows or blankets. Now, the reason why those are great is because they can support underneath the thighs. This way, if your hips are tight at all, the blocks are assisting to bring the floor up to you. So that way you don't have to hold your legs in space. The legs are fully supported so that you can relax and let the tension go as we stretch. Now, you might not need the blocks. You also might not have issues at your knees, which means that you could bring the heels closer to the body. As you bring the heels closer to the body, really listen to the knees. If they're screaming at all, then send them away. Now, from here, this is our seated option. In the seated option, hands come to the arches of the feet. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up. And as you exhale, fold forward, hinge at the hips. Think about bringing your belly button down towards your feet. And as you do this, you'll feel a really great stretch at the inner thighs and in the hips. Now, staying here for the option of more intensity. If you need an option of less intensity, then we're going to take this shape up against the wall. So legs up the wall, but in Baddha Konasana. To come into this, I like to bring my hips one side up to the wall as much as I can. Then I lower onto one forearm, swing the legs up, come onto the other forearm, make that shape with your legs and let yourself ground down. Now notice with your feet at the wall, you want to feel your tailbone grounded. If your tailbone is lifting up, then move away from the wall. Remember, if you don't have enough wall space, you can take this seated, lowering as much as you want with the torso. If you're at the wall, you can lower the heels as much as you want. You might even take your palms to rest at your inner thighs, or maybe your hands relax at your belly. So now, whether we're reclined or whether we're seated, we'll focus on our breath. Let the eyes close Take a deep inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. This is our bat pose. If we're in the reclined position, maybe we imagine ourselves like a Halloween bat, hanging upside down, resting, coming into our practice, connecting with ourself. Taking this time to feel into the body, specifically the low body. But if you're in the seated option, you'll also feel this in your back space. Breathe. Deep inhale to the top of the breath. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Feel this breath flowing in and out of your body. This is your pranayama, your life force energy. Continue to expand each new breath. Inhaling as much air as possible. Exhale for a slow release. With each exhale breath, give yourself permission to melt into the pose further. If you're reclined, maybe you slide the heels down the wall even more. If you're seated, maybe you fold forward a little deeper. Just take what you need for your practice. Let this practice be fun. Whether you celebrate Halloween or not, just join me in these postures and noticing how they feel in your body. Oftentimes, yoga poses have the names of animals or things in nature, like tree, bird of paradise. Today, we're taking those shapes and giving them Halloween names. Have fun. This is your practice, your time to connect with yourself. Inhale deeply. Exhale, open your mouth, let everything else go. We'll take a few more rounds of breath to get centered. This is our time of transitioning into our practice. Now, if you're in the seated option, as you inhale, you can start to lift your head, slowly lifting crown of the head up towards the ceiling. If your legs are up against the wall, take your hands outside of the thighs, guide the knees together, bring the soles of the feet to the wall, and then roll over onto one side. Whether you're seated or coming away from the wall, come back onto your mat, and this time set yourself up in a tabletop position. Before we go any further in our tabletop, notice how your knees feel. If your knees are sensitive, you can take a blanket underneath the knees or maybe a knee pad. When you look to your hands, spread your fingers wide. See if you can get the inner elbows to look at each other. Bones of the arms are stacked. Knees are under the hips. Now lower the head to look between the knees. If you can see your feet, just open them out enough to where you can't see them anymore. Now starting to find mobility in our spine. As you inhale, let your belly lower towards the mat. Tailbone will lift. Exhale, lift the back like a Halloween cat. Maybe you make a cat sound. Inhale, belly lowers, tailbone lifts. Exhale, Halloween cat. Move with your breath. Maybe you have a friendly Halloween cat that makes a meow, as the back lifts. Maybe you have a more aggressive Halloween cat, making a sound. Maybe you're just enjoying the movement and not making any sound at all, and that's totally cool. But each time that upper back lifts, really create the space between the shoulder blades. We'll take a couple more rounds. Back to a neutral tabletop position. Reach the crown of the head forward. Reach the tailbone back, lengthening energetically. Now we'll take some zombie walks. All we need to do is lean weight into one hand as we lift the other and reach the fingers forward. Then the hand comes down. Opposite fingers reach forward. And we're just moving from one arm to the other, imagining that we're walking like a zombie. And as we're doing this, physically, we're working with shoulder mobility. You might feel the strengthening happening in the arms. You might feel a stretch in the back space. Reach those fingers forward. Think about lengthening, zombie walking. We're not really going anywhere. We're just zombie walking with our arms extending, our fingers, just having fun, allowing ourselves to come into these different characters, these different shapes, feeling into the body. Take one more on each side. And then bring the hands down. So starting with our hands at the center of the mat, we are going to do some hip walking. Now, this is going to be a little more active for your hips. Try it and join in and continue if it's feeling good for you. If it's not feeling good for you, you can opt out of it. So starting with our hip walking meditation, looking to the knees, we'll bring the knees together, feet together. Now walk your hands one hand placement in front. Lift your right knee, lift it forward, and then see if you can cross your right knee above your left. If you achieved that, walk your hands forward, lift your left knee, bring it forward, cross it in front of the right. Walk the hands forward, lift the right knee, arch the back to create space, back to that Halloween cat. Continue to walk the hands forward. So we keep moving, really challenging our hips, bringing the knees all the way to the top of the mat. And once the knees come to the top of the mat, we'll take our time to flip it and reverse it, doing our hip walking, now moving backwards. Go at your pace. Take all the time that you need and feel a nice deep stretch at the hips as you take your hip walking. Maybe you're imagining your own Halloween creature as you make this shape. Working our way all the way to the back of the mat. Now, once you get to the back of the mat, move forward again. Just enough so that you can get your legs back on the mat and your feet on the mat. And we'll meet with our right knee forward. From here, we are going to come into a deeper hip stretch now that we have prepped the hips. So walk your hands towards your body. Look back to your feet. Open your feet wide so that your feet are coming off the edges of the mat. Now, the hands continue to walk back If you have really open hips, you'll be able to sit directly onto the mat. If your hips are really uncomfortable here, I totally understand. This happens for a lot of people, so I'm going to show you what you can do. You can take one block to sit on, or you can take 2 blocks to sit on. So as you stack the blocks, you're going to get more height, less compression for the knees. You might already feel the hips stretching as you sit upright, crown of the head reaching up to the sky. You might just need 1 block, or maybe you don't need a block at all. But the point is to have your right leg stacked on top of your left. If it's too aggressive to have the knee stacked above the knee, open the legs a little wider, but make sure that you're not sitting on your feet. So the hips are really important in our yoga practice because the hips hold and store a lot of tension. We want to work that tension out today. So if you're already feeling a stretch, stay here. If you're ready to go deeper, you can bring your fingertips forward and then just lean forward. But keep your hips connected to either the block or the ground. Now notice that the more you walk your fingers forward, the more you fold, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch in the hips. It's up to you how much you lower down. Listen to your body. This is where you find your edge. You want to find that place of a deep stretch, but not pushing yourself so much that you feel major pain or discomfort. You can release your head and your neck. Maybe you close your eyes and feel the sensation in the hips, in the legs, in the back, depending on how much you're folding. Just pause, breathe, feel into this space, let the tension go. Feel gratitude for this time that you're serving yourself. Releasing tension from your body. 3 more rounds of breath. On the next inhale, slowly lift the head up. Exhale, walk the hands towards the body. Find that straight spine, axial extension. Before we take this pose on the other side, we're going to come into a spinal twist. The pose that we just came out of is known by one of my students as the devil's pretzel. So this posture is actually called Gomukhasana, or shoelace, or cow face pose if you're also incorporating your arms. But I did have a student who had difficulty coming into this at first. He kept with it, kept trying, really wanted to open up his hips, eventually came into it, but he decided that this posture should be called the devil's pretzel. So we definitely want to include the devil's pretzel in our Halloween flow. Now, to come into the spinal twist, the leg that you have on top, simply lift the knee so that you can bring the sole of your foot down to the mat outside of the opposite hip. The knee that you have lifted, the same side arm comes behind you. So if your right knee is lifted, your right hand is behind you. Then inhale, reach the opposite arm up. Exhale, take your elbow to the thigh and then twist. Maybe your hand comes down to your ankle. Twist deeper, see if you can look past your shoulder. Nice stretch for the shoulder, the side of the back. Gently unwind. Send your torso back to forward. Restack the top knee and then lean forward, come back into this tabletop. This time in tabletop, you're going to bring the opposite knee in front. So take a moment to switch that up. Once the opposite knee is in front, bring both knees to the center of the mat, shimmy yourself around. Look back to your feet, open your feet off the mat. All right, guys, coming back into the devil's pretzel, walk the hands towards the body. Gently bring your hips directly down to the mat, to a block, to 2 blocks, to a pillow, to stacked blankets, and then shimmy your props around as needed. Remember, you shouldn't be in any pain. If you're experiencing pain at all, come out, take a different option. You can opt out of this one. Don't cause pain or major discomfort in your body. Prevent injury, safety first. Safe alignment. So maybe with your straight spine with axial extension, you already feel into the hips. Maybe you need a little bit more. In that case, you're going to take the fingertips forward and you're going to walk the hands forward. Pausing wherever you feel a deep enough stretch, or continuing to walk the hands forward to intensify the stretch even more. Head lowers down. Feel into the pose. Give yourself this time to release discomfort, tension, just stuff that's been stored in the hips for too long. Know that if at any point if it's too intense, you can always back out of it. So listen to your body, continue to wiggle around and modify. Most important thing you can do in your practice is to listen to what your body's telling you, because yoga is a non-competitive practice. It's just about you on your mat, feeling into your body and enjoying your experience with each pose. Take a few more rounds of breath. On the next inhale, slowly start to lift the head up. Slowly walk the hands towards the body. Find that straight spine. Pause there. Root down in your seat, reach up through the crown of your head. Coming out of the devil's twist, moving into a spinal twist now. Lifting that top knee and rotating the sole of the foot down onto the mat. Now the knee that's lifted, that same side hand, comes behind the hip. Opposite arm reaches up on an inhale. Exhale, twist to your grounded hand. Hook the elbow to your thigh. Maybe your hand comes down to your heel. And then see about twisting a little deeper. Look past your shoulder. On the next exhale, we're going to slowly and carefully unwind. Find your way back to center. From here, we'll unwind the legs. So we'll send the legs straight. Take your time to do this in your way. If you're on a prop, just come off of it and send the prop out to the side. Now, we're grounded in our seat. When I come onto my seat and come into this posture, which is going to be our seated forward fold, today we're going to call it Frankenstein because we're in our Halloween yoga flow. First, I like to set it up so that I feel really rooted and grounded down. So I recommend shifting weight over to the left, taking your right hand to pull the flesh back from the right side, and then shifting to the right and pulling the flesh back from the left side. Now, notice that sensation. Feel that difference, really rooted down now. Look to your legs. Bring your legs together. Bring your feet together. Hands come outside of the hips. This is our staff pose Dandasana. Inhale, sweep the fingers up. And as we exhale, we're going to find our inner Frankenstein. We're going to hinge at the hips and we're going to fold forward. Let the hands ground down. Round the spine. Lower the forearms or the palms to the mat. And as you fold forward, pay attention to keep the hamstrings and the calf muscles down. So you don't want the knees popping up. Now, as you fold forward and get flexion in the spine, feel a stretch in the entire back space. For those of you that are more flexible, you might take your hands to your feet and fold deeper, really stretching the entire back of the body. Releasing back tension, decompressing the spine. Now, for those of you that have less of a fold, you might take props like your blocks and then just let your belly or your low ribs rest on the blocks. If you're in the other direction and you're having a hard time holding your back up, then you can scoot up against a wall for support. So take the variation that's supporting your body the best, and we'll take a few more rounds. Frankenstein. Forward fold, seated forward fold. Paschimottanasana in Sanskrit. Find your breath. And on your next inhale, slowly take your time to roll up. No rush here. Back to a straight spine, reaching the crown of the head up. Now you can keep your legs like this, or you can bring one leg in front of the other. It's really up to you how you want to sit. We're going to visit some movement for our neck. So this is where we're going to act like we are an owl, a spooky owl making noises from a tree outside of our window that we can hear in this Halloween fall season. So to get started, we'll tuck our chin towards our chest. Pause here. Just feel a stretch at the back of the neck. You might feel the stretch going into the trapezius muscle, into the upper back. This is an area where a lot of us hold on to stress and tension. We're using our time now to let that go. Now on your next inhale, bring your left ear above your left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest, take it to the right. Inhale, back over to the first side. Exhale, second side. Now we can continue to move in this way, rolling the neck from side to side, pausing where the ear is above the shoulder. This is going to be safer taking half circles rather than full circles. That way we don't compress the back of the neck, the cervical spine. If you want to call in your inner owl, then you can switch it up and take another variation so that when your ear lands above your shoulder, maybe you rotate your chin. Ooh. Take it on the other side. As you're doing this, maybe you make your best owl sound. Ooh. Give yourself freedom. Notice which option, ear above shoulder or chin to shoulder, is giving you the best stretch for your neck today. Start to even the sides out. Bring your chin towards your chest. And then lift the chin, gaze forward. All right, so moving now from our owl neck work, we're gonna come into pumpkin. So our pumpkin pose is going to be child's pose. So we'll come back onto a kneeling position just to bring ourselves to child's pose. So we bring the knees together, shins are the foundation. Arms come beside the body, round the back, forehead to the mat or forehead to a prop. Now, if this is uncomfortable for you to be on your knees or having compression on your knees, you can take the option of coming onto your back and hugging the knees into your chest. Just make sure that your tailbone stays down on the mat. So your variation of pumpkin pose, child's pose, or knees to chest. With each inhalation, feel the belly rise. With each exhalation, feel the belly soften. Feel gratitude for this body that allows you to move through the postures. Whether you're taking all the postures or some of them, feel gratitude for this time, this practice, this self-care for you, and the opportunity to have fun, enjoying this holiday, the names and the shapes associated with it. Just experience this practice. Now, if you're in child's pose on the mat, bring your arms forward. If you're on your back, simply rock from side to side. If you're in the kneeling position, lift your head. Take your right hand off the mat. Lift your left hand, stack it on top, and then lower the left shoulder. Nice stretch for the side body. Preparing to come back to center. Lift your head. Lift your left hand, bring it to the mat. Take the right hand to the mat. Pause here. Take a full round of breath. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale, open your mouth. Let it go. Lift the head. Walk the left hand off the mat. Lift the right hand. Stack it on top of the left. Lower that right shoulder down. Pay attention to your shoulder. Just lower it down as much as is comfortable and breathe. Lift the head, lift the right arm, take the right arm to the mat. Bring the left hand to the mat. Now, lift the hips, come on to your side. We will incorporate a prop now for this next posture that we're gonna call Sleeping Beauty. So maybe your prop is a block. Keep in mind that the block has got some hard edges. That might not be the most comfortable prop you have. You might use a foam roller, you might stack some pillows or blankets. The prop is gonna go underneath your armpit, but feel for this space. So take one hand under your armpit. Now, go past the bone and find the muscle. So think lower armpit, avoid the bone, find the muscle. You'll probably feel some tension. Now, once you find that spot, you're gonna rest it on top of your prop. Take your time to find that spot. Takes a minute at first. Now your forearm is gonna come above the block, and then you're gonna Bring one leg down, opposite leg stacks on top. Now, the arm that you have grounded, come onto the elbow and let your head rest. Now, shift forward and back. As you do this, you're gonna really find that tension, that knot, and then you're gonna hold and pause there. So this is our Sleeping Beauty pose. If we wanna go deeper, we can take it into Super Moon, extending that bottom arm and then lifting the top arm over top. Now, if we're taking Super Moon, this is gonna be a combination of releasing tension from the subscapularis muscle and also lengthening the side body of the side of the body that you have above. If this is too intense coming into Super Moon and you rather just focus on releasing tension from the subscapularis muscle, then you can bring your head back to your palm. Remember, avoid bone, find the muscle, and breathe. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath. Now we're going to slowly come out. I recommend doing this by taking your top arm to the mat. Before we come into the other side, we're going to come into our seated position. Just let both of your arms hang down by your sides. Close your eyes. Notice the difference from one arm to the other, specifically at the space under the armpit. This is a really important part of the body to release tension from. This is a part of the body that we don't even think about having muscles right there. Especially if you're a woman and you wear a bra, which I like to call booby prison. If you're constantly in booby prison, these muscles need to be released. So just notice if the right side feels different than the left side. And then we'll take it to the other side. So whatever prop you used, bring it to the other end of your mat. Give yourself all the time you need to set it up. So now we're grounding down on the opposite side of the body. If you've got bony hips like I do, it will be comfortable if you position a cushion or a blanket underneath the hip. That's just an added bonus for support if you want and need. So the arm comes to the other side of the block. Come onto the forearm, extend the legs, stack them. Take your hand under the armpit and then lower. Find the muscle, not the bone. Avoid the bone. Now, once you find the muscle, lay it onto the edge of the block or onto whatever prop you chose, and then come onto your elbow. Let your palm cradle your head. Opposite arm can just rest. Maybe you shift your body forward and back to find the most intensity for the stretch that you want today. So option to stay in Sleeping Beauty, or option to take it deeper, extending that bottom arm, lifting the top arm up and then overhead. Relax the head down. Now coming into Super Moon, releasing the tension from the subscapularis muscle and at the same time creating space in the side body. Remember, if you take Super Moon and that's too intense, you can always come back into Sleeping Beauty. Either way, you're going to get a lot of benefits for your body. Releasing the subscapularis muscle is working directly with the heart meridian. So cultivating love and compassion and releasing congestion from that spot where we hold so much emotion. Breathe through it. When you're ready to come out, I recommend taking that top arm to the mat, bend the knees, push yourself up, use your bottom arm to push the ground away. Let's come back into our comfortable seat. Close the eyes, let the hands float down to the mat. Feel into the left arm. Feel into the right arm. Notice how both sides feel now. Wow, so much tension we hold in the area, we don't even realize it. So many muscles in the human body, 464 muscles, and we are hitting a lot of them today in our practice, but always doing this with care, with safety. We don't want to cause injury at any point. Take care of your body. It's the only one you're going to have in this lifetime. Now we'll remove the prop off the mat. Our class for today is starting to come to a close. We're just going to take 2 more options, and the last 2 options are going to be on the mat. So go ahead and bring your head down to the mat, bring your shoulders down, bring your back down, tailbone, and eventually the legs. Come into a reclined position. Bring your left heel to the left edge of the mat. Bring your right heel to the right edge of the mat. Now take your arms overhead, bend your elbows, keep the arms down, and just grab onto your wrist with opposite hands. Shoulders are grounded. Pick up your right foot, cross it on top of the left. Now you might feel enough sensation in the right side body and in the right hip. If you want more sensation, you can drag your arms over to the left as if your left elbow's trying to meet your feet. That's going to deepen the stretch in the right side body. Practice keeping that right shoulder down. Coming into a moon shape. Maybe closing your eyes and visualizing yourself howling at the moon. Embracing this Halloween class today. Coming back to the idea of having fun. Recognizing your inner child. And then lift your arms to center. Pause here. Now lift that right foot. Bring the right heel to the right edge of the mat. Lift the left heel, cross the left ankle above the right. Maybe this is enough for you. Or maybe you drag the right elbow over towards the feet. Hands are connected at the wrist. Left shoulder is down. Moon pose on this side, opening the side body, the part of the human body that we stretch the least. Breathe into this shape. Release the congestion. Create space in your amazing body that has given you so many experiences in this lifetime. Bring the arms to center. Pause and breathe here. Now unhook the left ankle, take the left heel back to the left edge of the mat. Release the arms, bring the arms out to the sides, create space at the armpits, create space at the feet. Now we are in Shavasana. We've explored Shavasana so many times before, but did you know that Shavasana is the Sanskrit word for corpse pose? So, channeling our inner corpse, just pretending in our Halloween class, letting the body super, super heavy, letting the entire body just melt down into the mat, into the space, tucking the chin towards the chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Close your eyes. Now this is the traditional corpse pose shape. You are welcome to take any shape that you feel you would like to round out your practice today. If you've got tightness in the low back, you can bend your knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Feet are wide, knees come in towards each other. Now, if you rather focus on opening the hips, heel toe the feet together, splay the knees out, let the soles of the feet meet. So maybe you take your blocks underneath your thighs to support the hips if you feel tension. If you don't have blocks, no worries. You can make fists with your hands. Position your fists underneath your thighs. When you find the shape that's working for you today, that's honoring your body in the best way, stay there and breathe. Shavasana, corpse pose. Allowing ourselves time of stillness and relaxation so that we can integrate the work that we've done in our practice today. Here we can deepen the breath. Inhale, feel the belly expand. Exhale, open the mouth, take a sigh of relief. Letting go. Inhale, deepen the breath. Exhale, let it go. Continue to bring awareness to your breath. Now, Shavasana is a posture that you can take for as long as you'd like. In yoga schools, it's typically recommended that you take 5 minutes of Shavasana per each 30 minutes of physical movement. So in a 60-minute yoga class, 8 to 10 minutes of Savasana. I can't talk, I've got yoga brain. Feels so good after my practice. Corpse pose, Shavasana. Take it for 8 to 10 minutes. Take it for less if you don't have the time, but just know it's a really important part of the practice. You don't want to cut it off if you've got the time to stay there. If you're feeling really restful and you want to take it longer, 12, 15 minutes, certainly feel free to do so. We're going to close our practice together today. If you want more time in your Shavasana, stay there. If you're ready to come out, lift the legs, hug the knees into your chest. Take your hands to your shins. Allow yourself time to rock from side to side. And as the rocks become bigger, eventually roll over onto one side, coming into the fetal pose. And using the fetal pose as a transition to find your way to a comfortable seat. Take all the time you need to come into that comfortable seat. As you come into the seat, reach the crown of the head up, lengthen the spine. Sitting directly onto the mat or sitting on a prop, we'll just close our practice together today. Bringing the palms together, thumbs to the heart center, hands are in prayer position. Thank you so much for showing up for this practice, for allowing yourself to be open, to have fun with our Halloween theme, to not take life so seriously, to just feel into your body and be here now. The light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light within you. It is my deepest honor to guide you in this beautiful practice. Namaste. See you next time.